Hello, everybody. My name is Benjamin Bloom. Welcome along. It is the Benjamin Bloom Football Show. And by God, it is game week number 44 of 46. We are so close. And as I've said on the review show and on the preview show, this round of fixtures could be absolutely incredible. Some seismic, huge, massive, use whatever adjective you want to describe this round of fixtures, but it's going to be superb. And as you can see down the bottom there, West Brom versus Fulham is the first one up. Absolutely giant fixture. Let me know that you can all see me, you can all hear me okay by getting involved in the comments and sticking that thumbs up button. Please get your thoughts and predictions in for this one tonight. I know there's a very big picture regarding Brentford, regarding Leeds as we go on through the week, but we must not be guilty. The focus is on tonight and West Brom versus Fulham. Brentford can do nothing tonight. Leeds can do nothing tonight. Nothing gets decided tonight. Let's focus in on this West Brom Fulham game. Before we go through the nuts and bolts and everything, I see loads of comments coming in. Brilliant stuff. We will get to them. Please, you can support the channel by Super Chat on YouTube, just where you type your comment in. There's a little dollar button there. Click there to donate. You can also subscribe on Patreon. If not, please do hit the thumbs up button. Do comment and also subscribe. We're getting very close to 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube. So please do get in there on that. Right, let's have a look at what is going on. First of all, what's going on tonight and then tomorrow and into Thursday. So tonight, this huge game. I'm saying focus on this one, but we will fill you in on everything else that's going on. West Brom, Fulham, 4th and 2nd, duking it out here. Reading Borough, Wigan, Hull. Look at that, God. Cardiff Derby, so relegation blinder, and then a huge playoff game as well. Luton QPR, Millwall Blackburn, Sheffield Wednesday, Huddersfield. Also that Millwall Blackburn game, a lot riding on that one. Wednesday night, the big one, the one that maybe means the most, Brentford, because they're the ones that really are looking at the top two. Brentford, Preston, Bristol City, Stoke. Bristol City could still make the playoffs incredibly. Birmingham, Charlton down the bottom there. Can Charlton make it worse for Birmingham? Forest, Swansea is 5th against 7th. And then on Thursday, the small matter. I'm sure we'll have terrible viewing figures for that one over here on Thursday. I jest, of course. Leeds versus Barnsley. Potentially the game Leeds could get promoted. A lot of water under the bridge before that happens. Indeed. Quick look at the table shows us West Brom on 81 there, Fulham on 76. Leeds still 3 points clear, but look at that, a 2-goal win by West Brom puts them top of the league and pretty much puts Fulham out of both Leeds and West Brom's sights. Indeed. We've got the bottom half of the table. It's not relevant for this game, but I'm sure if your thoughts and your questions come in at the end, we may look at it. Let's have a little look at the form real quick. And what you'll notice about West Brom there is just a splurge of victories. Those 3 victories in a row there, away at Wednesday and then against Hull and then against Derby. No other wins either side of that until you go back to February. Obviously, the caveat that there's been COVID and lockdown in between there, but they're winning in splurges, are West Brom. What you'll notice about Fulham is that they've won 4 games on the trot. Speaking of winning in splurges, they, like Brentford, are on a very good run. I mean, when we talk very good runs, what we do have to say is literally all of them are on very good runs. Leeds, Fulham, West Brom and Brentford, all winning at the same time. It's the slightest little slip at the moment. Here are some permutations. Remember these. If West Brom win by 2, that's what the table's going to look like. West Brom will go back top. They win by 1, they won't be top, but they'll still be on 84. More importantly, though, Fulham are then out of the automatic race there. The maximum they can then get is 82. So a West Brom win is good, really, in terms of the top two there, getting another rival away. Depends on your frame of mind. Do you want the Championship or not? Brentford will still be sat in there on 78 points. If this game is drawn, that really goes to benefit Leeds and Brentford, doesn't it? Leeds will still be out there on top and can put a 5-point gap in terms of the Championship with 2 games to go there. Again, in terms of Fulham, that wouldn't rule them out of still being able to get automatic promotion, but it would take quite the collapse. However, the real cat among the pigeons scenario, if Fulham win, look at that. We go into tomorrow night, 78, 79, 81 there, reading upwards. And Brentford then, with that goal difference, could overtake West Brom. So, in short, a West Brom win there really does it for Fulham and does kind of help Leeds, I think. A West Brom draw really helps Brentford more than anybody, I think. Fulham still in it by that point. A Fulham win really helps Leeds and Brentford and Fulham. Doesn't help West Brom, as you can imagine. Let's have a look at the teams. Please get your thoughts and predictions in. I can see loads of comments coming. I will go to them in a sec. Let's just go through these 2 teams tonight. And it does have a little sense of the managers are getting their experienced, bigger names in for this game. It's almost like they've both had this one circled on the fixture list, ready to have a go at. Johnston in goal, still in the fullback positions. No Gibbs or Furlong there, and Nathan Ferguson is done. So Townsend and O'Shea, maybe not the strongest fullback pairing in the top 4, but O'Shea scored in the last game, didn't he? So we should say no more on that. Higazi back in, speaking of experienced, highly tenured players, next alongside to Ajayi. He's had a great season. Livermore and Sawyers, yep, very, very decent double pivot there. And the 3 across the front, it's Grzycki in ahead of Matt Phillips there, or Callum Robinson. Dean Garner, Pereira, Grzycki. That sounds dangerous to me. Can they dovetail? Can they combine as a 3? Certainly all 3 of those players. Excellent. Charlie Austin has got in ahead of Hal Robson-Kanu and scored a couple of goals. Strong looking team. And remember, an experienced, clever manager in the dugout in Slaven Bilic. And Fulham have done the same. Rodak in goal. Joe Bryan and Dennis Adoy are the fullbacks. Maybe not as balanced as that could be. We know Adoy is a centre half, but he's in there ahead of Steven Sessegnon. I think just ability to defend there. Ream and Hector have been a good partnership since Hector arrived. Now, in for goal have called this a 4-2-3-1. Obviously, we won't find out until the game starts exactly how that looks, but no Harriata in there. Often it can be a 4-3-3 with Fulham. That would mean Bobby Reid very deep. In the event that is a 4-3-3, then that's very attacking if Onuma is going to try and get forward a bit more alongside Bobby Reid. If it is a 4-2-3-1 there, then he's gone for what we suspected at the start of the season would be this killer attack of Cavaliero, Knockaert, either side of Mitrovic. It hasn't clicked. Wouldn't it be a nice day, all 3 of them on the pitch to get it to click? On paper, it's a brilliant front 3. And if it is a 4-2-3 run and Bobby Reid is playing in the number 10 position, that looks very, very nifty as well. Maybe not the ball retention you get. Remember, no Tom Kearney in there either, or Harriata with those 2, but some star attackers. And it looks like Scott Parker understands what we were saying. Fulham need to win this game. They're not out of it with a draw, but doesn't help them. And when we look at the last 2 fixtures, we see as well, there are the benches. The benches really killed Derby off in the second half against West Brom, didn't they? Bilic had a lot of options. And again, if we read from the bottom upwards there, Callum Robinson can come in off the front. Chris Brunt's got a ton of experience. Matt Phillips, Kravinovic can, give you running power there, or a bit of skill and guile with Kravinovic. Bartley and Furlong up the back, and a spare forward as well in Hal Robson-Kanu. So loads of options, and especially given 5 subs there. how does it stack up with Fulham? Maybe not quite so strongly. In terms of game changers there, Arter and Johansson would be in central midfield and would help you control a game if things were looking good, as would Kevin McDonald. In terms of attacking changes, it's only really Naiskin's Cabano there. There's no Abubakar Kamara. So if the game's tight, you'd certainly say Slaven Bilic has more options off the bench, doesn't he? But both teams going for big names, and Fulham in particular there, seeing Cavaliero, Knockaert and Mitrovic, possibly with Reed as a number 10, Bobby Reed that is, as well, that says they could be going at this quite hell for leather for the win. It's going to be fantastic, isn't it? I cannot wait. Please don't give me a damp squib of a 0-0 draw. Let's have a look at your comments and your predictions. There's David says, I don't think West Brom will go toe-to-toe with Fulham. Too risky. Expect them to sit deep, concede possession and try and hit Fulham on the break. Leeds beat Fulham like that in the second half. And more pertinently, David, that's exactly how West Brom beat Derby. So again, we're looking at the battle of the technical boxes here. We think Bilic has probably got the edge over Parker. Wouldn't want Parker to completely play into the hands of that type of situation. That said, look at the three off the front for West Brom, Dejan, Garner, Grzycki and Pereira. Surely you'd want them on the ball attacking, but we did see exactly what David has just described there against Derby. Jay says, this feels like a championship final. Absolutely it does. Brentford relying on their rivals to beat West Brom. Craig says, very truly, this could give us an epic run-in, or the automatic race for promotion ends here. He's talking about a West Brom win here. That's Fulham out of the picture, isn't it? Brentford still to go tomorrow night, but I suppose the scenario all Leeds and West Brom fans want is a West Brom win tonight, Brentford dropping points tomorrow, and then it's all open for Leeds. They want no chaos, those top two. They want it to be as straightforward as possible. Marco says 2-1 Fulham there. You can see perhaps a little bit of bias there in that prediction from a Leeds point of view. Mark says maybe the lineup is prep for the playoffs. I wonder on whose team he is talking about. Ridley says the championship just got exciting. It's been exciting for a few games, Ridley. I think so. Let's go, says a prediction from me. God, this is a hard one to call. I normally go with whatever's going to shake things up the most, which would frankly be a Fulham win. Let's just hope there's goals and we don't get a cagey old affair. Remember, it plays to West Brom for it to be cagey and 0-0 or something would suit West Brom. So surely Fulham, again, I'll reel off that front four. If it is a 4-2-3-1, Mitrovic up top, maybe Reed as a 10, Cavaliero and Knockaert either side. Could be interesting from an attack point of view there. Noel says 3-1 Baggies. Graham has got Fulham on his acca. Gaza says 2-2. Chris, up the bees, Fulham to win 1-0. Liam asks, the closest 100, how many children do you think will be called Pablo in 9 months' time? I don't know what you mean, Liam, at all there. What would be a nice Yorkshire surname to go with Pablo as well? Pablo Spencer. I don't know. Ridley says Fulham to win today, Brentford to pit West Brom to second place. That is on if the results go the right way. They could just kill it though tonight. Imagine a 3-0 West Brom win or something. Just big statement victory would really put the kibosh on anything else other than that, wouldn't it? Marcus says, afternoon, Ben. What a game to kick off, thinking 2-1 West Brom. Totally agree. Gonna be brilliant, isn't it? Michael says, sounds good so far. We've got the new microphone over there. Fulham lineup looking very strong. I fancy a draw. Remember, the draw doesn't put Fulham out of it, but does really favour Leeds and Brentford, the draw, not necessarily West Brom, indeed. Jay says 1-1. Badger says, come on, Fulham. Mike, difficult call, but sticking with 1-1. Hayes Life says West Brom 2-0. on this one. Looks nice and sunny and dry. I've got the Sky feed on just here, and Slaven Bilic is doing an interview, looking as chilled out and beardy as ever. Although Slaven Bilic can be not very chilled out sometimes. I was at the game, Derby and West Brom, right at the start of the season, in fact, and Bilic got sent off in that one, and he wasn't very chilled at all. So I don't really know what I'm talking about. There we go. Noel says 3-1 baggies. A quick plug one more time. We'll go through more of your comments here. Support the channel using Super Chat or on Patreon. If not, please comment and subscribe. We're closing in on 10,000 subscribers over here on YouTube. Joshua says Leeds to win promotion Thursday. That would mean a Fulham win tonight and Brentford drawing tomorrow. Alex, a Millwall fan, a bit worried about tonight. Blackburn have looked good at the weekend. Remember, Blackburn, we say it was a slip up. All it was one draw for West Brom. So Blackburn were in the way of West Brom. Big game there, Millwall versus Blackburn tonight. Trevor says last 4 games between Fulham and West Brom have ended 1-1. I was at the one earlier in the season, knockout with it was a cross, wasn't it? A curling shot into the corner, but I think it was a cross. And then a big mistake by Marcus Bettinelli and Semi Ajayi popping the rebound in from a corner. I know it's ifs, buts and maybes, but imagine Fulham had held on to that. This would be even tighter now, wouldn't it? Although that was the story in the early part of this season coming up to Christmas, that the chasing teams, Fulham in particular, really let Leeds and West Brom away. 11 points at one point, I think, in December. It might have been 13 or something crazy like that. It's come back in, hasn't it? I remember both Leeds and West Brom at the same time winning 7 games in a row, I think. Leeds did, and West Brom won 6 possibly. So, maybe a few teams paying still for letting that huge gap come in. Ridley says Brentford seem unstoppable at the moment, seem more convincing than West Brom. Andrew, come on, you whites. Hungry Hype Beast is asking for a prediction. I know I always sit on the fence with this. I'm just going Fulham just on the basis that I want the most ridiculous title race and I want to be calling it in a stream on the last day of the season. But hey, there's some quality in that West Brom team and some quality on the bench. David says 2-1 to Fulham. Colm says West Brom's results against Leeds, Brentford and Fulham are 1-1. So losing 1-0. We've already drawn 1-1. Or losing 1-0. So Q, a Fulham 1-0 win. What Colm's point there is West Brom have not been winning these big games as a result, as a rule across the season. Interesting. Ben says Jake. Josh says, come on Fulham. Here's Raylan in the chat. Not good for us for top 2. We only need 1 point to finish above Fulham. So we need a Brom win or draw to get a gap over second or third. Remember, a lot of these kind of projections we're all looking at, we often look at the worst case scenario. And a few of those worst case scenarios presume that, Leeds are not going to just get the couple of points that they need. So Badger says, I'm not sure why you, Ben, are fixated with Fulham having a chance of automatic. They have no chance. Well, Badger Maths says that is not the case. And while there's mathematically a chance, I will talk about it. I don't think it's fair to say that I'm fixated on it. I'm just looking at all of the plausible possibilities. And while there is a mathematical chance, what's the quote in Dumb and Dumber? 1,000,000 to 1. So you're saying there's a chance? Of course there's a chance. Let's just bang through these options one more time. See if I've got my facts right here. If West Brom win, they go to the top of the league if they win by 2. And then Fulham tonight will be out of the automatic race. If West Brom draw, then it is Fulham 77, Brentford 78, West Brom 82. Yes, to Badger's point there, if that's the case, then West Brom would only need to score a win to get Fulham out of it. But in terms of Fulham being in the automatic race, look there, if they win, they're 2 points off with 2 games to go, which doesn't sound like they're out of the race at all and doesn't sound like I'm fixated on it either. There we go. Joshua asks, I think this has a draw all over it, but I'd love a Fulham win. Elliot, with his bees flying around there, Brentford fan, says, come on, Fulham. And Paul, clearly a Fulham fan, says, up the Fulham. Ben, what are the logistics of getting to Bournemouth next season going to be like? Not good. There's a big city called London in the way that I'm going to have to drive around. I haven't even looked to see how far it'll be to go. Look, I'll end up there one time next season, won't I? Assuming they'll all let us in. Draw will do for me, says Jake. 2-2 he is going for. Zero Fox, afternoon to you, sir. Badger says, Slaven Bilic looks like an axe murderer. Crossing me. That's Badger's words, not mine. Andrew says, Adoy was actually signed in 2016 as a left back, and he says that's his favourite position, but he's right-footed. Wow. This is why I love these streams, hey? People say I know about the Championship, but all of my knowledge comes from crazy things like that. So, yes, I think Dennis Adoy, the best I've seen him play is centre-back, but there we go. I'll always bow to your superior knowledge if you watch your team week in, week out. Leeds fan is Russell there. Hey, wanting a Fulham result, draw or win, not bothered. Alex says, I remember when Brentford had a restructure and Warburton walked away. I thought Brentford were mad and would regret that. How wrong I was. They're a model club that most of us aspire to emulate. Yeah. And this is the big picture with Brentford as well. I mean, when you compare Brentford's position to West Brom's, West Brom have had parachute payments last season, year one. They're in year two now. They've got rid of a manager because of the panic, spent big on Bilic and backed him. They really need to get over there. Whereas if you look at Brentford, look, if Brentford don't go up, they're going to be moving stadium. They'll probably sell Ben Rama for, the price of a small country, and they'll move forward as a club again next season. So very different positions. And I mean, if you look at the Fulham position as well, they are year one of only 2 years of parachute payments. And then you look at the Leeds position as well, where it's, to all intents and purposes, they're going to make it, aren't they? But if they don't, then does the great Bielsa go? So I would say of all of the top four, Brentford could cope best without making it this season. But they can sniff out a chance, can't they, then bees? Mally says, no reasoning, but 2-1 Fulham. You don't have to have a reasoning, hey? You could be absolutely right. Let's do a few more of your comments before we go to kickoff. Just very, very quickly, a little plug here. If I remove that one, Jason, I promise I will read out your comment. As usual, on a live game here, pre-match 4:30. Half-time will be about 5:50, so I'll get the stream up and you can hopefully get a notification if you follow that. Full-time around 6:55, depending on stoppage time and minute silences, possibly if there's a Jack Charlton one, and then they take the knee, don't they, and drinks breaks and all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, please do follow the remaining streams. Football Global is in Costa Rica. Lovely stuff. Central America, to all this beautiful audience today, Fulham wins, he says. Cottagers win. Graham says, the inky reason I don't like Brentford is they have our man Pontus. There you go. Let's have a look here. David says, case of must not lose for West Brom, but Fulham may as well go hell for leather. It looks, if that is a 4-2-3-1, and remember, that's a 4-2-3-1 with Josh Onoma in the double pivot, and he's known for getting forward and adding physicality in there. So, you could get a situation where Reed is the only one sitting, Harrison Reed, that is. Onoma is forward, Bobby Reed is forward, and Cavaliero and Knockout don't really know how to do much else other than attack, cut in, shoot, cross, exactly. Baggies forever. So effing nervous. There he is. Brad says, if I was a Leeds fan, what would I want the score to be? If I was a Leeds fan, I would just try and relax in the knowledge that Leeds are probably going to stick another 3 on against Barnsley on Thursday, and someone is dropping points in the top 4 by 7 o'clock tonight. That is definitely going to happen. So Charlie says, well done, Wickham. And if I can just plug, I did a How Did They Do It video on Gareth Ainsworth and Wickham this morning. Jay says Fulham need a win to have any chance, so they will go at West Brom. You would think, will the swarthy and experienced Slaven Bilic be thinking that's exactly what Scott Parker's going to do? We've all said that Parker has played into the hands of various managers over the season, but he is 4 wins in a row. And remember, we judge Scott Parker on where they finish at the end of the season. There's Thomas. I'm Leeds, and I'm back in Fulham. We have to have one ridiculous prediction. There's Matthew with 4-4. Wouldn't that be wonderful? I tell you what, 0-0 at half-time and then 4-4 at full-time. Jim, who I believe is Sheffield Wednesday, 1-1, I predict. Russell says, I don't want a West Brom win. It's better for Leeds if Fulham win or draw. Indeed. Jack, 3-0 West Brom if they get the first goal. 1-0 West Brom, says David. Craig says, I'm going for an exciting one. 3-2 Fulham. Mike has chipped in. If there are Pablo babies who are conceived at around 3:30 or something on Sunday, Pablo Ramsbottom. That's excellent. Graham says, manager helps West Brom a lot. Helps West Brom a lot at their potential, really, overall. I think he's saying that without Bilic, maybe they would be less further on. There we go. MVP of the game. That's a great question from Hungry Hype Piece. From a West Brom point of view, you want the MVP of this game to be Matheus Pereira, because you would think that would mean he's having a big influence. When he has an influence, he gets goals and assists, and West Brom win. From a Fulham point of view, you just want it to be Mitrovic, wouldn't you? Because he's been the main guy all season. Although it might be one of those games that might be won from further back, and a Romain Sawyers or a Harrison Reed or Josh Onoman might be key position. Pablo Strachan. There we go. Graham says 3-1 Fulham. Lee says what we all think. I think it's a case of West Brom not losing. Sometimes it's harder to go into a game knowing that you don't want to lose than it is knowing that you have to win. We'll see. Sean says, what tension, what drama since the restart. The whole journey has been mental. Agree with that. 2-0 Baggies, he says, marching on together. Noel says, have your thoughts changed, Ari Grealish, after his 9.5 Palace dive against Palace on Sunday? Just asking, sir. No, my thoughts haven't changed. I still think Grealish is excellent. That was a terrible dive, though, wasn't it? I never said Grealish didn't dive. I said a lot of the time he is fouled and some of the time he dives. But yes, that was a pretty heinous dive, and VAR picked it up, didn't it? So no, my thoughts haven't changed in general. But that did my defensive Jack no good whatsoever, did it, that dive. Liam, 1-1 to West Brom. Liam, we're playing the guitar there. Nice one. Super Leeds to go up as champions with Brentford in second. Mark, who I think is a West Brom fan, Preston have a lot to gain. They can end up in the playoffs if they beat Brentford. I'm happy with the team for West Brom. Strong again, not giving a prediction. MVP of the game, we've done. Right, we are closing in. I can see Darren Moore, ex-West Brom manager, didn't manage to get them up with Harvey Barnes, Dwight Gale and Jay Rodriguez up top last season against, obviously, that Villa team with Grealish we were just talking about. And Bielsa's Leeds were above them, weren't they? And the top two last year, Farker's Norwich and Wilder's Sheffield United. Right. My prediction is that this will hopefully be brilliant. There's a chance that Parker plays into Bilic's hands and Bilic sits off a little bit and then presses Ream and Hector and Brian and Adoy at the back there. There's a chance that Fulham really go at this and get the win. Lots of possibilities. For the neutral, which is me, a non-West Brom win here opens this right up. So I will go. I'm going to sit on the fence because I do a lot. I let you guys do the bold predictions. Let's go for a scoring draw. Let's go for a 1-1 in this one. But please, guys, as we said earlier, back at half-time, about 5:50, and back at full-time, please come and join us for both streams. Get your insight and your predictions in. Thank you for watching the first game of a monumental game week. Sky have already got their as it stands table up. That's going to be up quite a lot this week, isn't it? Right. Thank you for watching. I'll see you back at halftime. Scott Parker looks a little bit nervous, chewing away on his gum there. Let's see how good a manager Scott Parker is. Maybe we'll find out today. Thanks for watching. See you at halftime around sort of 50 minutes from now. Big embrace between Parker and Bilic. phony joke there. Probably both telling each other how nervous they are. Right. See you at halftime. It is West Brom versus Fulham. We'll know more in 45 and certainly 90 minutes. See you soon.